Hi, this is Nilson Lima, and here we have some fellow developer asking how can you use this type of water. It is the translucent water in the water planes project, free sample from Epic, and this material he intends to use in a fountain. And as we know, fountains are not deep water. So the problem with this water here, it was designed to be water with certain depth, and also a modification as a shore, so the water can be more transparent and near the shore. So he is asking that in his attempt to make this water useful for the fountain was not possible, and let's see why. If I take this translucent water here, and if I move it down, you can see it is darker in the deep part and lighter on the outsides. If I keep pushing it down, it is probably what is happening when it's trying to use this for the fountain. The water starts to make even more lighter. Still, depending on the material you have here, down here, this can be completely transparent. So, for the default values in this material, we still have some coloring. But let's see why we are not able to make this in another way. Let's create here simple material, new border, very quick. So mainly you want to keep an eye here for using translucent shading model. We don't have any specific for water, but you can still keep this default lit for a while. You might click on to side if you have the need to go inside water, like looking from below. It's not our case, so you not click here. The cost is insignificant, so you can for the lighting mode, I would say you have to use the surface translucence volume. It is the cheapest you can use for this. We are talking about a shallow water, so pie fogging might be not necessary, but you left this as it is. Okay. We want reflections in this water. You can use spin space reflections. It will work fine because the portion of water will be small, so it's like interesting. But you can also use screen space. Sorry. You can also use planar reflections. Are you sure with both? So we will have also to check here. And we are not using tessellation in this. It will be just a very simple order. So when I choosing the translucent water, we have something changing here. Our basic color for the water will be black. Okay, so let's start playing with some values here. You see that my preview here. Okay, you see that we are completely transparent here because I have chosen 0 as opacity, and you will not even see the mesh here, the preview mesh, because that is how translucent works. And roughness, metallic, they are 2 pins, and their values usually goes from 0 to 1 only. Specular, you can go above 1. Emissive, base color, you can go above 1. Base color here receives a float 3. Opacity is also from 0 to 1. So it doesn't matter if you go B1, 1 here. So this is important. If I choose 1, see, this is what I have. 2 is exactly the same thing. So of course 5000 will be exactly the same because this is clamped. Okay, so as we know it, we don't want this value here being 0 or even 1. We want it to be something like this. You can see that you start to see something from this material here. Okay, but then again, this opacity value is being distributed for the entire material. And like in box, you see it's exactly the same for all these spots. So this is not how it works for water. You will just increase here like 0.5 so you can see better this image. And if you take a look in the translucent water here, you see there are a few nodes being used, like Fresnel here, and any place soon here for the depth is like there's the motion. I can see here that fade, not easily at least. Oh, that's not a problem. We can make it here. Fresnel, it is written Fresnel, but we call it Fresnel. If I preview this node here, it shows a mask. Okay, you see that this mask is a gradient, and this gradient tells that for the edges, anything near edges or border, to be more accurate, you have one value, and everything farther from the border tends to go 0. We don't reach 0. Okay, so this is the node we simulate, used to simulate the shore. So usually what you include in lerp, okay, and you say, okay, my opacity will go from like 0.1 to 0.5, and you just place Fresnel here in the alpha. We are previewing this one. Let's stop. Let's see how our material looks like. So what is happening here? You see that we have a dark border here. So we want actually is the opposite. You have two choices, or you invert here or you invert here in the pin. So 1 minus, put in the alpha. There you go. You see, now we have lighter borders and darker in the middle, as the water should be. You can change the amount of this mask working on the exponential here. If you see, it is using 5 as the exponential. I can try 3. You have lighter in this case we are opposing here. So you see I have increased this this mask because this exponential is using in a power function. So now we are in power of 3, power of 2, and you see power of 1, it's almost completely 1 the gradient. So the default is just 5. So one thing that you can do is use a scalar here. You can call on this mask, intensity, something like this. 0, we got 1 multiplied for whatever, you have full white here. So we can control this using this one. We can say this parameter is like maximum opacity, and we can have another one here as mean opacity. This should be fine for what we want to achieve. Let's call it 0.6. So, end time soon. Small portions of water, we um, they are very reflective, and for PBR you use metallic to give some shyness of for a material, but in fact we want in this case, because it is water, so water and glass, you want specularity, and the usual value here, it works mostly all situations, is 0.5 for water and glass. So just with this attribute here, let's preview our material in the mesh outside. See that translucent material, they have great cost. Just few instructions here, and we have all of this. So we'll create like a material instance, and so what is happening here that I can see the border. Our border, it's being shown, but it's being shown for the edges of the plane. So what we wanted to do is making some more changes here. So for now, give me some of the attributes I want for my water, but it's not giving me. We can like pick here something little bluish and grayish. And usually you pick two colors in a lerp, and this lerp will be driven by but we use just this one. So we'll duplicate this. This will be pure black. You got here on lerp. So for now, and depth fade, we have here two things. It is the maximum opacity we will have, and you can change this value, and also the fade distance. But let's use first the full values here and see how it looks like in our there you go. We have here something going to close to 0 and start getting that bluish color. This is how things work. Of course, this water sucks because we don't have normals here simulating the the little waves that water have, no matter how small it is. That is always a disturbance. And like, let's place some 0 key in roughness. Of course, this doesn't need to be constant. You can change this to a parameter and have more control on your result. But see that now that I have put in 0 in roughness, we get that shining on our surface. Let's wait for the material to compile. Yeah, I know it takes a while because I'm not using a fast computer. But you see, we have our material here with the fade, and we still don't have any light effect here because our material it's not yet dealing with normals, but we can add some screen space reflection for now. What reminds me, I think this blueprint here, I have placed it in planar reflection already. Oh my. So we don't need this screen space reflection here. Sorry for that. I forgot I have placed this. I have using this this project here to show a bug in the planar reflections and when using Vulkan, and I forgot about this. But again, we don't have some normal, we don't have any reflection. Refraction, you usually repeat being this mean refraction and max refraction, and minimum is like 1 for water and 1.3. You plug in here and we can go the same thing that is driving our opacity is the one that we want to drive our refraction here. Okay, so this is how it should look like. So anything that goes inside the water, you start to shift the light and you'll make your water a little more realistic. See that we have here some reflection going on. Let me put this water a little above. See, I have the reflections. And as I just have two colors, one being too dark, maybe I could use some grayish here. and get some bluish going on. Just for the sake of explaining this water here. And once we are done here, we enter again the translucent water and trying to understand each parameters. Then, now that we have this knowledge to be using for your shader. Okay, so based on what we have learned from this, let's shake the translucent water material. So first thing, you see that it's given some metallic and 0.5 on a specular because water. Okay, and color, it's being lerp. With some colors here for shallow and deep water. See that they are not using black for shallow water, they're using white. We can do this as well in our material, because white will still be like so. So just getting back here. So this is for color. So this represents the watercolor, and this is to represent the deepness of the water. It's shallow of its deep. We have a reflection vector here. When you have something increasing the value for the color, you see the color will be brighter depending on the reflection vector. Reflection vector, you need to receive normals. So this lerp here, you have like a normal value, and motion four-way chaos normal is the one responsible for giving us, if you see, normal also getting out from this lerp. And what we want to change is not here in the normals, but what is coming from opacity. So opacity, you have like minimum short opacity, it was our mean opacity, and here base opacity, our max opacity. And for the alpha, they are clamping, given some short depth. We didn't have this in our material, it'd be nice to have. And basically he is picking the height given from the work position plus camera position. So it depends on your camera position to get this number. It is using scene depth by pixel depth and masking just the upside, inverting to determine how the opacity will go. One didn't really work for our water here. 0.1, 0.1, 0.2. I want this to be really lighter. So what we want to give to our opacity here is something like what we got here. So we instead of using Fresnel, we'll divide this for shore size, and as we are having some divisions here and some math before, we are not using Fresnel anymore. We need to clamp to guarantee we have minimum and maximums, because you can have values lower or higher than 0.1 for the alpha here. Source size, let's replicate that number there. So everything now kind of replicated for the material. There's a divide, clamping, okay. Okay. Just wait here for so from our steps you start to have some color. We still don't have normals here, and what you want to simplify is like given these medium waves, it is in the when you create your project, you have started content. It gives you a lot of textures, and one of the textures that you receive is these T medium waves and T small waves that you can build this exactly same nodes here. But overall, for the size of the water you want, probably just the small waves will do, and you can give some speed for these waves, depending how you thinking you're actually. And that's also something important to give some variation along the this medium waves height is a height map based from these normal waves, medium waves here. So what it does, it means that when you have your normals flowing through the water plane, this height is to create a variation to move along, and it is your roughness. This roughness value changing over time, it will reduce the specularity you have at these spots this roughness they're moving. So more the roughness will mean less shiny on your water. This is how this whole thing works. You can have like just a little bit more darker. And so I guess from the main options you have here to look at is you can have opacity going beyond 1. So there is no way you can change this in max opacity here. Oh, I'm sorry, not here. Base opacity, it really can't be higher than 1. Now shore opacity, you might you don't want shore opacity for the water like a fountain. So if you pick this material again, let's get back to it for our little pond. There you go. And let's start to changing the materials here. Something very important here. This material are using a reflection cube. You might want to bring an AGR here to match your environment. It is like good practice. But again, if you are not going to have waves in your water, it is a calm water, so you can remove this part from here. This part can be removed along with this reflection multiplier. Again, to our water. So you want your fountain to be with some let's forget about variation on something else, like variation amount here in the blueprint. It will mean something like this. Okay. Water scale, this is important depending on and wave speed 2. Shore depth. Okay, base opacity, you can drop this by 0.85. So you can still see some color. See? So these are the values that I have given. Just in the blueprint, I didn't mess with the values here in the instance. But again, you can take a look. Maybe I have changed it before. So the watercolor, just for you to confirm. The variation, despite the variation is being changed here. Scale, wave speed, opacity, that is being changed here. Depth power, this is important. Check if this matches what you are having. The reflection multiply, this is important. So you can have an increased reflection. Shore depth, it will also be changed here, so it doesn't matter. Variation noise, check your material. Water depth, it will be changed. No, it will not. Water depth is just a color. I think it's all black. And shallow water, I have in this material, these values here for the material. And that's it. Nothing else. What else we have here? It's not two-sided, translucent. That's it. Nothing else changed, which is good. So For your issue, I understand it's depth scale. It is causing you problems. So like your order is disappearing or being completely transparent if you are having this value too high. 0, 10, 15, 25, 50. So try these depth scales and the short depth. Again, this basically you can have like this straight line. It's horrible. So for short depth you need something maybe 5, 8, 4. It has to be 8 at least. And for your opacity, now, no matter if you choose too much, it will kill your shore. And again, there is no such thing as a higher value here. You're just moving zeros and ones ahead. So you can change this value for like 0.8. Maybe 0.8 is too little for the water. Something between 0.8 and 0.9 will likely give you the .5, 1.7. So remembering that I am using the in this scene the BP translucent water. This one here. Okay, I hope this has some sort of helping you to understand what's going on, explaining a little basics about the materials and the M translucent here. Remembering that you can keep the reflection cube if you want, but you might want to change the HDR here to match HDR for your environment, from the colors, where is the sky, the color of the sky, and the surroundings. Okay? I hope you enjoy. Thank you.